Hi, I'm here with Andrew Constance, who's the Minister for Roads and Transport. We also have a connection because you're responsible for Bega, and I'm an old Bega girl, so it's nice to meet you today.
That's right.
So listen, we've just had a breakfast talking about infrastructure, and I know there's a lot happening in New South Wales. Could you just tell us a little about the priorities in terms of infrastructure for the state, because there's a lot going on?
Well, certainly maintaining business confidence in the pipeline, that's important. Certainly with the re-election of the Berejiklian government earlier this year, we are getting on with the job. So head down, tail up. We've already started to see the impact in terms of opening some of the mega projects, such as the M4 East, and of course the Metro Northwest project. But around the corner next year, and at the end of this year, we've got CBD Light Rail, we have the North Connects project, we have the M5 East tunnel opening up, ongoing works with the duplication of the Princess Highway, Pacific Highway, Great Western Highway, and then of course we've got some very big mega projects around the corner in terms of the city, with the North Connects project, the M5 East opening middle of next year, and then of course Metro City, the tunnelling being complete early next year and opening in 2023-24 with the new metro train right under the heart of the city and harbour. So very big changes, and then of course all the work happening out in Greater West with the new airport.
Yeah, and I think if you live in Sydney, you're looking forward to some of those, and there's some great projects happening. Tell us about some of the risks you've been experiencing or see going forward as well.
Well, I mean, everyone talks about capacity constraints. My focus as Transport Minister and Roads Minister very much is, well, how can we continue to maintain the pipeline, alleviate the risks for our contractors as best we can in partnership with them. It seems to me there's a lot of asbestos across our community, which always seems to pop up when we go and build our major projects, challenges around utilities risk, the broader issues around insurance, and of course also making sure we've got the skills and the project management expertise. So we want to be able to work with obviously the market to make sure that the timing is right. We've got a lot of other jurisdictions doing a lot of big projects as well, so we've got to be mindful of that and making sure that we do form strong partnerships, as we already have done, moving forward to get great outcomes.
And tell us a bit about those partnerships, because government's doing a lot, but what's the role that you see private companies playing in this infrastructure growth?
Well, I think the challenge is making sure bureaucracy doesn't disaggregate contracts and in essence drive risk through projects. So I think we've got to maintain certainly the fundamentals behind public-private partnerships, making sure that we have
music to their ears.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really important. And we've delivered some great projects for this state through those partnerships. So I think maintaining that in a very strong, confident way is important. But also from a government perspective, maintaining the pipeline is key. We want to be in a virtuous cycle of infrastructure investment. The only way to do that is making sure that financing is innovative. We make sure we have a good, strong relationship with the national government. And then at the same time, we continue to recycle capital through the program that we've already put in place. Obviously looking at our lazy assets on our balance sheet, driving the private sector to take on those assets to deliver even better outcomes in those sectors of government, but also at the same time, making sure that we've got the capital to continue this fantastic pipeline of work.
You talked about the recycling of assets there as being an important part of the strategy. Could you expand on that a little bit more?
Well, I mean, so far as a government, we've refinanced the desalination plant. We've transacted on our ports infrastructure, the distribution and transmission electricity assets, but we've still got a lot more to do. And at the moment, the Treasurer is doing some scoping work around forestry, and there's an ongoing program now in place. Into the future, we will look at further recycling of capital to continue to drive productive asset development for our communities, and bus congestion, which is a handbrake on the economy, making sure we deal with those freight pinch points, particularly for our mining and agricultural sectors, and continuing to grow the city given the population projections that we're expecting into the future.
Because I think we're expecting another 1 million or so people over the next period of time, so a big expansion. The private-public partnerships, you've been in that space for a while. Could you tell us about the learnings you've had and where you see that going in the future?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think public-private partnerships are critical to delivering great infrastructure, and in many cases delivering infrastructure generations ahead of time. So if we can finance well, there's no reason why communities need to wait for infrastructure which can change lives. For us, I think the key learnings, obviously, certainly we've learnt from projects, and then we've taken a different approach for the following project. And light rail is a classic example of this, where we saw with one project not enough work put into the third party agreements before final contract signing. So we've got to learn from those experiences, making sure that we get bedded down as best as possible the expected risks associated with infrastructure builds, and make sure that in partnership we are able to deliver the outcomes.
So you think some of the negativity around that space is a bit overplayed, or there's some real
a little
learnings
bit,
you can take
a
forward?
little bit. I mean, I worry enormously in terms of the confidence level in public-private partnerships. It's really important that people understand in the business community, government's got to stay the course here. It's an important delivery model, and we've got a lot more to build where we are going to rely heavily on PPPs in the future. So we've got to be able to work through that with our broader community, so they understand the importance of PPPs. I know certainly, I mean, it's been a great model of delivery for the CBD light rail. Yes, there were some challenges along the way, but ultimately the community's got a great project. They'll start to use it in a month's time.
So when will they start to
very
use
soon,
it?
before
Okay.
Christmas.
Before
Chrissy.
Okay.
So at the moment
That's
we've
Christmas
ramped.
2019.
That
right?
is, and I said it'd be delivered this year.
Okay.
So we're going to do that, which is very pleasing. And again, I think one of the key elements of that project for everyone is that yes, some challenges along the way, but ultimately, the delivery model's been right for that project.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today. I wish you every success, because I
Thanks,
think we
Alexis.
want to see that light rail open.
Yeah, and I'll catch you down in Vegas soon.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Thanks.